cool.
Right.
That would require a lot of post-production.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't do it.
Or a lot more pre-production.
When you say
play it live.
make Andrew, I don't know how to do that. He kind of just does what he wants to do.
We have 2 votes.
Yeah.
Oh, but never mind.
He's the producer, so I think technically he's our boss.
Oh.
You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You're listening to The Scrimmage.
You really wound up into that one.
Oh yeah, I had to give it a little bit of a slow start. Didn't want to pull anything. I mean, I didn't do anything last week.
Yeah.
Because I was detained.
Yeah. In jail?
Some might say that.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny those comments.
Okay. Well, either way, you are not in jail now.
No, not now. But, when you take a week off, you have to start slow the following week. You don't want to pull something.
True.
Yeah, didn't want to.
Vocal cords.
Yeah, pull a vocal cord.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I think so.
I'm Justin Domashevitz, Daniel Hargrove,
Yes.
back from beyond the jail.
We have cool shirts.
And we have cool shirts on, all of us.
All of us.
Including our trusty producer,
Andrew cool
Gross.
Yep.
Yeah. Acosta Wildcats state softball shirts.
Yeah.
Lifelong Acosta fan.
We're boosters now.
Yeah. I think officially now.
Yeah.
We literally paid for these to...
Does that mean we can start giving people NIL money?
I think so.
Oh.
Couldn't we have done that anyway?
I don't understand.
I think, do we need to form a collective?
A collective?
No, it's
Yeah.
all changed now.
Dude, every time I hear the word collective, I just think of like Star Trek and some aliens like coming to kill people or something. Isn't the collective the Borg? I might be wrong on that.
I hope
gotta
you're
look
wrong,
that
because
up.
if you're right
I feel
about
like
that,
the
you are
Borg
a
is
super nerd.
collective.
What? Can't I just be a normal nerd?
Nope. Knowing that much about Star Trek specifically graduates you from being a regular nerd to a super nerd.
Wait, if it's just Star Trek knowledge, what about like knowledge about Battlestar Galactica or something like that?
Yeah, oh yeah, that'd be same category.
Oh, that's the same category.
Yeah.
I would consider it more nerdy.
You think Star Trek's more nerdy?
Yeah.
Okay, well I've never
No.
watched
I-
Battleship Galaxy.
I
Quest.
would consider Battlestar Galactica.
You have
more
watched
nerdy.
Galaxy Quest. I know you have.
I've never
But-
watched Battleship Galaxy
Yeah.
Quest.
Yeah. Bad news for you, Justin. Borg civilization is based on a hive or group mind known as the collective.
Oh no. I was
on a
talking
show
about
with a
NIL
nerd.
collectives.
A super nerd.
So there was like Andrew was saying, although we shouted him down with like super nerd stuff, but the collectives no longer technically have to exist because the schools now legally can pay the players directly. Is that right, Andrew? Is that the way you understood it?
Well, now they
Something
can.
like that. Yeah.
Oh,
It's all up
the
in
comments.
The air. No one knows what's happening.
The comments came in fast and furious. Andrew, can you scroll up a little bit? There's a couple that I missed. Oh, are they just from Francis? If they're just from France, oh, they are just from Francis. Dang it!
Yeah. Well, the Mariners, he points out that they're sitting at 55%,
Yeah.
instead of 54%, so exceeding expectations right now.
He also wants to know Andrew to answer him an NBA question, but he did spell it Celtics.
Celtics
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
No. Bad Celtics are bad.
Daniel says he's the boss. Oh, Andrew's the boss. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
wait.
Chase said-
When we were whispering before the show, that was live?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I thought that was a private conversation. I didn't even know Andrew could hear it. Andrew, did you hear that conversation?
I didn't hear it, but that was because I was paying attention to things like getting the show going.
Okay.
I thought that it might be live because at one point I think Andrew said we're streaming. But I'm never quite sure if he says that before he actually is, just because he doesn't trust us. And Chase says free the hashtag. Yep, I'm free.
Yeah, Daniel.
And
Hashtag free Daniel. Daniel
like,
is free,
you
so
know-
I think that means our hashtags, all the hashtags that we said out loud but didn't actually post anywhere, worked last
we
week.
posted them in the comment section.
Yeah, but if you
And the
Google-
title of our show.
That's how you change the world, guys.
Yeah.
With hashtags.
And
but not on any.
You know-
We didn't put them on any social media platform.
I'm just like,
YouTube is a social media platform.
Is it?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Also, I'm like Scotty Scheffler, man.
Oh,
Can't keep me down, exonerated. What?
yeah.
From-
But then he's.
I mean,
I'm
I wasn't
still
actually in
mad-
jail,
I'm still
but
mad
maybe I
that
was.
he agreed not to sue them.
Yeah, but Scotty's
That-
just
I
a
think
nice
that was
guy.
I think that was
police
the better
department
move.
needs to be sued into oblivion.
For justice's sake, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But I think it was a better move for him in the public eye to just let it go.
Scotty's just the bigger man. Sadly, we need lesser men to sue people to change things. Speaking of, our sponsors. No, does he sue people? Is that how that works? Yeah. Law Office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz and Grace Harbor's best Spivey Realty Group. Thank you for your sponsors. I actually have to ask you a question about maybe getting help from your dad
Okay.
for somebody that I know.
Is this related to the
Insurance
Free Daniel
claim?
hashtag? Or?
No, maybe.
Okay.
Does he deal with like insurance companies not supporting claims?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Car
somebody.
insurance?
Not car insurance. This would be home insurance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should talk to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I will. I'm
Wait,
trying
I
to
thought
get the
there was
person
no
to.
relation.
Well, you could still talk to him, regardless of whether there's a relation or not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Chase said should have gotten hashtag Free Daniel starting on Twitter.
missed opportunity.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
This is the first time I get to say this, I think.
Yeah.
We can get things going with the local sports roundup.
5 Aberdeen Bobcats were named to the 2A Evergreen All-League softball teams. Senior Annika Hollingsworth and junior Lily Camp both were selected as first-team pitchers. Camp posted a 1.85 ERA this season and held opponents to a 173 average while striking out 153 batters in 90 2/3 innings. Camp also batted .325 with 5 dingers. Hollingsworth had a 2.49 ERA and held batters to a 207 average while striking out 156 batters in 87 1/3 innings.
Wow.
She also led the Bobcats with a 474 batting average and slugged 7 homers.
That's high.
Sophomore catcher Alyssa Yakovich joined Camp and Hollingsworth on the first team. Yakovich batted .298 and posted a .997 fielding percentage. That's pretty impressive, especially as a catcher, that feels like.
Yeah. And catching 2 dominant pitchers.
Yeah. Outfielders Lainey Yakovich and Scotland Lecomte earned a second-team nod. Yakovich led the Bobcats with 30 runs scored, and Lecomte led the team with 8 stolen bases. Cheyenne Patrick and Britton Neal each received an honorable mention.
Wait, so they had 2 pitchers named All-League first team.
Mhm.
Both of them on the same team.
Yeah. 2 legit stud aces
That's awesome.
on one team.
On the baseball diamond, a few more Bobcats received all-league honors. Senior pitcher Hunter Isley was named to the first team after posting a 2.18 earned run average and striking out 67 batters while walking just 25. Isley also batted .327 with 11 runs and 11 RBI. Sophomore DH Bubba Jones also earned a first-team nod after batting .323, and sophomore outfielder Aiden Baker earned second-team honors batting .306. Sophomore class is good. Charlie Ansich and Baylor Ainsworth received honorable mentions.
Grace Harbor was well represented on the 1A Evergreen All-League softball team. Montesano's Allie Parkin was named the league's defensive MVP for her play behind the plate. Parkin caught 41 innings in league play without allowing a pass ball and threw out 3 runners. The junior also hit .560 in league play with 5 taters and 14 RBI.
Oh.
Montesano's Riley Timmons was named to the first team after posting a 4-0 record and a .7 ERA in league play, along with Addie Kersker, who batted .625 with 6 steals, Kylie Wisdom, who batted .560 with 14 RBI, Ada Potts, who batted .562, and Liv Robinson, who posted a perfect fielding percentage. This is why we had such a hard time coming up with athletes of the week from that team. They were just all really good. Katie Trail and Grace Gooding received honorable mentions for the Bulldogs.
What was their team batting average? Like 500?
I don't know.
Holy crap.
A lot. Well, that was like 2/3 of their starting lineup right there.
Elma and Hoquiam players also received All-League softball honors. Elma freshman catcher Raylan Weld batted .633.
Elma could hit, man.
In league play to earn a first-team nod, as did senior outfielder Aaliyah Weld, who batted .522. Julia junior outfielder Mia Monroe, hey, not a Weld, batted .500 and swiped 6 bags. And senior shortstop Emmy Spencer, who batted .462. Hoquiam had 3 first-team players. Senior catcher Faith Prosh hit .480 with 7 homers. Senior pitcher Kate Sauer, who struck out 30 batters. And junior outfielder Chloe Dietrich, who batted .448 and scored 31 runs. Lexi LeBounty and Avery Howard received honorable mentions for the Grizzlies, and Callie Galligan and Ashlyn Weld did for Elma.
Thanks to the Daily World for putting together articles to honor these players. Check out the Daily World for full rosters of these all-league teams. You can get the paper copy or find them online at thedailyworld.com.
So I have another one to add in there. Former Monty Bulldog standout soccer player, Brooke Streeter.
Mm-hmm.
She's playing in college at the moment. Well, actually, she was playing in college, and now it's their off season because it's the summer. So she's playing for, I believe, Olympia's semi-pro team. I'm pretty sure the Grace Harbor Gulls are in the same league as this. And I got a message that said that in the first half, Justin, she scored 3 goals and had 3 assists. And her dad,
a lot.
who messaged us, said she's going for the schmat trick. Sadly, he then messaged and followed up and said they pulled her early, so she just ended up with the hat trick of assists. And
I'm sure that was very polite of them, though.
Yeah, it probably was very polite.
That's like pulling a pitcher who's going for a no-hitter.
It's a little
They could
different,
they could have done what the Gulls did sometimes when they were winning by a lot and just like stick a random person in goal.
Yeah,
And then
there
let
you
the
go.
goalie come out and try to score.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, love that.
But what about a goalie that's like working on a scoreless game or something?
Well, it depends on which one, because some of those goalies got scoreless games all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
That's like
Emmy.
day in and day why.
Yeah.
It was more surprising if Emmy Spencer allowed a goal
Yeah.
than if she
Shocking
held
results.
everyone scoreless.
Exactly.
So that's the local sports roundup, and there's not more in there because I'm going to be honest, not a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, it's because state was
Daniel
last week for like
skipped-
everything.
Daniel skipped the hard week.
Oh my gosh, I'm so upset that I missed that. Last week was the week that everything happened.
You know what we should do for a minute, because
So upset.
Andrew and I got to be here for the inauguration of the Jane Roloff Award.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a couple
The
minutes
first
to
annual.
Yeah. Right.
inaugurate? There's no such thing as first annual. Something can't be annual until you do it 2 years consecutively. It's
I heard you
inaugural.
talk about this a little bit. Didn't Andrew say that if you intend it to be annual, isn't that what he was saying?
That was what it's his opinion.
Yeah,
it's just not correct.
Yeah.
It's
So
just not accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in a dictionary somewhere? Like, where's this rule come from?
Dictionaries tell
Justin's
you
brain.
definitions of words. So yeah, you
Is
could
that what
probably-
annual means?
Annual means
Like,
every other
if you-
year. Or, I mean,
every year,
Yeah.
Are
right.
you
But
are
if-
you
does it
in a
not
position to question the
No,
great-
I'm literally just asking questions.
Hold on, I need to ask.
Daniel,
This is an important
stop.
question. This is
You
an
need to stop
no.
engaging in good faith.
No, hold on. This is
in
an important question
conversation.
that you need to hear to the end.
Okay.
Are you in a position to question the great Rick Anderson? Because he's the one who taught me that.
Well, see, I've been taught that by people too.
Yeah.
But I never.
The great Rick Anderson?
I never questioned them though. And if we just believe those who came before us without asking why, is that a bad thing?
In my life, I have never once
Justin,
questioned the great Rick Anderson.
Justin,
Neither have I.
when you plant a plant that will continue to come back every year, is it an annual right when you plant it, or do you need to wait a year before you
it's
can
an
say
annual?
it's an annual?
What the heck? A plant is an annual? I don't. What does that mean? I have no idea what that
I feel
means.
like you aren't really.
Is that a
able
plant that
to-
you plant
to-
every year?
No,
Or-
an annual plant is one that comes back every year.
No, annual you plant every year.
Oh, you
Oh.
plant an annual every year?
You guys didn't even know what it was.
Never mind.
What's the one that comes back by
It's
itself?
perennial.
Perennial.
Do you want me to look up the dictionary definition of perennial, Daniel?
Wait,
Or should
No,
we? Cause
I
we call,
didn't.
Maybe
You're
we should call it
attacking
a
me like
perennial.
I was literally just asking where this came from. Like in the
Actually,
dictionary, when you look up annual, does it have a section under it where it says the first one doesn't count as this?
No, it doesn't.
Like
the
that's what
great
I'm,
Rick Anderson.
I
I-
understand.
The fact that Justin learned it from Rick Anderson makes me
confused.
think that it might be an AP style guide thing. But I would expect
Well, I've
Daniel
always-
to know that.
Daniel, if
Well,
you
I've
disagree with
always
me,
heard the same thing.
So it might be an AP style guide thing.
if you disagree with me, that's dumb. So that's all I have to say about that.
You know, I probably would have agreed with you more if you didn't come out so defensive when I was literally just asking a question.
How dare you question the great Rick Anderson?
I love how you're shifting it onto him, not you.
He's the one who taught me that.
But now you
I
believe
could
it
tell you.
wholeheartedly.
I could tell. I've never questioned it. I learned it from the great Rick Anderson.
Exactly.
The AP style guide also discourages the Oxford comma.
I know.
so
And the
No,
Oxford
it doesn't.
it's
comma-
at least
It
questionable.
basically prohibits it.
yeah, that's true.
It does.
Well, no, it says that it should only be used when it is required for clarity. Right?
Every
Yeah,
Oxford comma I ever typed into an article got deleted by my editor. So I don't know. In my mind, it was completely not allowed.
I
There are
purposely go in
you
and put it
can-
into places.
You can create.
The Oxford
You
comma.
can
or-
Yeah.
come up with sentences that require the comma to be clear.
That's true. Because it's very necessary sometimes.
Do you think everyone knows what an Oxford comma is?
No, but that's okay.
Okay. Should we move on?
Well, I think you were trying to set me up to give me an opportunity
Oh
to
yeah,
talk
do you,
about Jane Roloff.
I was, yeah, and then I got
Yeah.
sidetracked because you questioned the great Rick Anderson.
I did not actually. I think you guys started.
I'm gonna keep putting it on you though,
because
even
you
though-
said inaugural, and Andrew then because
nobody said inaugural.
inaugural, inaugural.
Urinal?
Yeah,
Okay.
According to the AP style book, an event cannot be described as an annual event until it has been held in at least 2 successive years.
What about
So
dictionary.com?
that is an AP style guide.
Interesting.
Okay, but you didn't look
I
up
find
the
that
dictionary
interesting because
definition.
it makes sense that Daniel, the far majority of his writing has been influenced heavily by the AP style guide.
Yep.
And then
Yours has?
Yeah.
I thought you guys used something different for radio.
no, they have AP paper and AP news,
Oh,
or
okay.
an AP radio.
Got
yeah,
it.
which I thought was going to be super important until I realized that I was just writing for myself to read, and then I was like, hey, you know what? It really doesn't matter as long as I can read it correctly. Anyway, I am so excited. We have an award named after somebody, and it's not a joke because our previous award was the Trace Ridgway Snub Award, and now we have a real award. You're reading something very intently.
I'm listening to you.
Okay. I'm just super excited that it's a grizzly, too. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that we would have this conversation in the middle of Montesano dominance for how long? The absolute pinnacle of greatness that must be recognized for an annual award when it gets to next year
Yeah.
is a grizzly.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I'm so proud of Jane Roloff. I mean, she won 4,600 meters of state championships
Yeah.
in one weekend.
Yep.
Just ridiculous.
And then how many meters is a cross country state title? Because if you added that to it, how many meters worth of state titles did she win
Yeah.
over the course of the entire year?
Aren't they around 5? Are they 5K or 10K?
I
can't
honestly
remember.
have no
Yeah,
idea.
neither do I.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's so cool. And you look at her times. I'm not sure if you guys brought up her times,
We mentioned them.
but the 3,200, she won by 14 seconds.
Yeah.
The second best runner in the state was 14 seconds behind her. That's like just getting to the home stretch as she's crossing the finish line. That is the level of dominance after she had all, because I think that was the last race that she won. I think I'm remembering that right. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure the
I think it
3,200.
was the last one.
So
yeah.
she had already given all of the effort to win 2 state titles. And then in the longest race, the last race that she wins by 14 seconds. Just absolutely insane.
Chase Ferrier says, first annual scrimmage grammar conversation. We've had so many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, when I listened back to last week's episode, when we were doing the presentation of the inaugural Jane Roloff Award, I realized that there could be multiple names for this award, because there's the Jane Roloff Award, which is what it's going to be called, but
Yep.
it certainly could be referred to as the Never Stops Running Award.
True.
And then I said maximum excellence
Yeah.
so many times. I probably said it a dozen times.
And you wrote it a dozen times in the
So,
post.
yeah,
by the way.
so-
also, if
yeah.
you haven't, go to our socials and read the post that Justin crafted for that award. I got choked up reading it. Like, I was teary-eyed, and I showed it to my wife, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's really good." And I was like, you don't have any emotions. That's so cool.
It's cool that she doesn't have emotions.
No,
Oh.
no, like I was saying that she didn't
No, I
teared up like I did. So yeah,
it is like kind of. I think the reason why it feels that way is because it's like reflecting on a journey.
yeah, yeah,
And like in a way reflecting on an era, because Jane's been on our radar for a while,
yep.
because she's been competing successfully in track for a few years now. But I don't, and even as great as we knew she was, I wasn't sure if we knew she was going to do this. And it was just the maximum amount of winning that someone can do, and it needed to be commemorated, and it gave us an opportunity to do something. We've talked about having like a most outstanding athlete annual award before. We just never pulled the trigger on it.
Yep.
And this was like the perfect opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. Speaking of ending of eras, there was a couple of graduation parties that I didn't get to go to yesterday.
I went to 3.
I was wondering if you. So I was invited to 2 of them,
Yeah.
but my wife was as close to being in a wedding without actually being in the wedding. It was kind of odd. Like, the bridal party was super small. It was just a sibling on either side, but the amount of work that Courtney did that would normally be like the maid of honors type of work for this wedding was a lot. So,
Wow, and she didn't even get to go up there and wear the pretty dress next to the bride.
yeah,
Is that a plus?
I don't know. Might be a plus. For
Depends
Courtney,
on
it's
the
probably
person.
a plus.
Depends on the person.
I like attention, so I would have been upset. I want to wear a pretty dress. No, so I was busy all day,
Yeah.
and I couldn't break away to get to either of the ones that I was invited to Skylar's
Yeah.
and to Tice's.
Yeah.
And so I shot them both a message, and I was just like, hey, sorry I couldn't make it. And
Yeah, they've both informed me that they're not playing wiffle ball with us because you didn't come to their graduation parties.
Wow.
wait,
Kidding.
does that mean that I get to be on the young person's team? No, anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because Skylar said that anytime you need help picking on Justin, just let me know and I'll be there.
Oh, he's very proud of. He's proud of the work he did. I'll just put it that way.
So I was just gonna say, like, I'm definitely gonna take him up on that.
Yeah. No, I went to Skylar's graduation party, and then went straight to Landon McKinney's graduation party, and then from there we went to buy a birthday present for my niece, and then went to her birthday party.
Oh wow!
And then straight from her birthday party to the combined graduation party of Tice Peterson, Jackson Wilson, and Jack Holmstrom.
Wow,
It was all day.
That's
All day.
exhausting.
that day sounds insane. That sounds more tiring than a wedding.
It was exhausting, and it was more tiring than a wedding. Also,
Daniel,
I went
you
around and
only went to one wedding.
I know.
I ate good food at several different places, and I had to really pace myself, like knowing, hey, I'm going to 4 parties today.
Yeah.
I can't just pig out here. So I got a little bit of the best food from each place, and it was
Nice.
a nice day.
That's awesome.
And it's, these are some of my favorite people. So
Yeah.
over the course of the last decade or so,
Yeah.
I've been making a point to skip every graduation party I've been invited to, like, because there's been a
because
few.
you hate everyone.
There's been a few that I go to, but
Yeah.
like my threshold for I'm going to go to a graduation party is so high.
Yeah.
And now it's my son's friends that I've known since they were little and coached a lot of them in sports.
So
and-
you have to go so that people will come to your son's graduation party.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
if I think about it, like the point of having a graduation party is that so people will give you money, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But I'm going to spend a ton of money on this party. What if we just skip the party and I give my son the money that we were going to spend on the party? He would love that.
But would he get as much?
He would probably still get money from some people, though, because there's
that's
people
true.
that already have
What you
it.
do is you don't have the party,
Yeah.
give him the money, and still send out graduation announcements.
Yeah.
And with
There
a
it
special
is.
note that says
With
if
a
you
Venmo
want
link.
Venmo,
Venmo, that's exactly what I was going to say.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Love this idea. Another idea I love, this isn't sports related either, but at the wedding, I was blown away by this. So it was a fairly small wedding, but not like a crazy small wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But there was assigned seating for the reception, and all the name tags were actually cards that had a personal note to every the people attending. Like it wasn't the same like, hey,
That's horrifying.
thanks for coming. Yeah, the bride and groom spent like a whole weekend writing these to every single person who
Wow.
RSVP'd. There was a special one for my 2-year-old son and my 1-year-old daughter that was like personalized for them. I was like, holy cow. Made me feel very special.
That's nice.
It's very cool. Also, way more work than I would ever put in. But it was cool.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Chase Ferrier says that I can skip his graduation party, even though technically I wasn't invited to it. He's okay with it if I skip it.
Well, now you need to go.
Really nice of you, Chase, and it really makes me want to figure out when and where your graduation party is so I can just crash it.
Dude. That'd be the best.
I'll just crash it wearing like full Tar Heels gear
And a Monty hat.
and a Monty hat. Yeah.
We do know that baby blue goes with maroon pretty well.
Pretty well. If you ever seen the Stevenson uniforms, they look
Bulldogs,
pretty
man.
good.
Yep.
Pretty slick.
Pretty good. What are we doing?
We have to. We're gonna
That is a constant concern.
We're gonna run
Daniel.
through. Well, things have changed since Daniel's been gone.
Yeah.
He's out of the clink now, and things are different. We've changed the order of the show.
Things have changed since he's been inside.
So we are gonna run through a list of nominees for Spivey Athlete of the Week. But before we do that, we need to take our first commercial break.
I know where that is.
Is that banana bread?
No, it's ginger pumpkin bread. I told
Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Thank you again to our sponsors, the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz.
no relation.
What's the A stand for? There you go. Andrew just informed me that he's got the audio of me reading that I recorded while I was
Daniel.
inside.
Dude,
You could have played it
you-
off like you actually read it.
Well,
But
I was
now
gonna.
You can't because you told everyone.
Dang it.
the part of the thing, you nailed it. Like, and also like at the very beginning and the very end, there was like a second and a half where you could hear like the clinking of bars in the inmates behind you, but everything in the
I
middle,
took that out.
the
I
audio
That's
was
what I was
so
gonna
clean.
ask.
It up.
It was so clean.
I was gonna ask if you took out the
I
bars
literally
clinking.
played it from like straight from Signal. Daniel
Yeah,
sent
he
us
trusted
an
you
audio
so
file,
much.
and I played it. I didn't have a way to listen to it ahead
He
of time.
it was like
Bro.
the trust exercise where you fall backwards into someone's arms and just trust that they're going to catch
Yeah.
you. That's what that was the equivalent of what Andrew did with your commercial.
And I
What-
nailed it.
And you
What
nailed
Daniel
it.
is
You
just
came
now
through.
realizing though is that was a massive missed opportunity to Rick roll all of us.
That would have been brilliant. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it helped out. You asked me for the script, and I was like, man, they got enough to do. I'm going to see if this works out for them.
Yeah, it was
So,
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
It was the least I could do after getting myself detained,
Well, let's roll through this list of nominees.
which
and
is all I will admit.
all
that I
of
was
it.
detained.
All of it is from last week because we are gonna over the next few weeks we're gonna stretch out some of these state performances into Spivey Athlete of the Week winners.
Really going to milk it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do
No,
have a
we're
lot of
not
good
milking
options
it.
here.
Like a goat.
We are taking the proper amount of time to adequately recognize each of these very impressive state performances.
That's true. That's true.
AKA, if you look up the dictionary definition,
Dictionary?
the dictionary definition of milking it, that's what it would say.
But also, what other season is like track? Where there's like a million state champions.
Yeah, we had several.
Track's
Yeah.
weird.
It is weird.
Can we all agree? Track's weird. Like
Well,
you get a state title for like
it's-
everything.
Yeah, well, it's there's so many different events. Like most other sports, it's one event. Like baseball
Yeah.
is one event.
Wrestling.
Wrestling
Wrestling has like different weight classes, but it's
Wrestling
still
it's still weight classes.
Yeah.
So a few more than one event. But with track, you've got, I have no idea how many events. I'm not even going to try. You've got a whole bunch of different events and different classifications and stuff. I guess that's normal with the different school classifications. But
Chase says if you can successfully figure out when and where his party is, you are more than welcome to come.
I got Elma contacts, bro. You don't know. I got Elma. I'm gonna find out. All right, let's run through this list of nominees. Starting off with Louis Kozer from Oakville, who won the 1B state title in discus.
Nice.
Then we had Logan Green from Mary M. Knight, who won the 1B state title in
the
high
school-
jump
That's the school that's closest to where Andrew lives.
in the woods.
Yeah.
And that was also a school record jump. I think it was 6 foot,
Nice.
if I remember right. Xavier Davis from Tahola Track won the 1B state javelin title. Emily Wilson from Willapa Valley Track. This is going to be, I feel like this is one that's definitely going to come up here as one of the top contenders, because she not only won the state title in 1B in the 400, but she also took 6th in the 200. So she's on the podium for 2 events.
Yeah.
nice.
We had Austin Snodgrass from Raymond in 2B. He was 4th in shot and 4th in disc. And then Gabe Bodwell from Monty Track got in the top 8 in 3 different events. In 1A, he was 2nd in disc with a PR throw, 5th in jav, and then 8th in high jump. And
That one's weird.
Well,
Like,
it's
have you found out why it's 8th? Why he was the one who took 8th?
I
yet?
don't know.
What?
So
I mean, to be fair, I didn't
He
really
was-
try.
There was 4 different people
there was
with a
5
6.
people.
5 people had a 6-foot jump.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so
they
he
gave-
tied for.
He tied for 4th,
Yeah.
and they gave him
Oh.
8th.
Yeah.
Did they give everyone 8?
No.
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
I would accept that. I
It
would
has
like it, but I'd
something
be like,
to
ah,
do
makes
with
sense.
how many attempts you take, but you don't get that
Oh.
many attempts, so you
Ah.
wouldn't be able to go like break the tie for 5 people with how many attempts you take alone.
Oh, weird.
So I don't know exactly how it works.
Weird.
But, then we have Michaela Stanfield. This is a really interesting one. Just decided to pick up a javelin this track season and became, the school record holder and the 1A state javelin champion after not doing track at all her
Yeah.
first 3 years of high school. And then Lauren Matlock. This is one where I really wished I had my stats with me last week. I left at home. During the state tournament,
Wow.
during the state tournament,
It's not inaugural.
not inaugural, but it's a state tournament. And she played 5 games, batted 700
Wow.
with 5 doubles,
5 dubs.
a home run,
Dinger.
9 runs,
The runes.
and 7 RSBI.
Wow.
And I wanted to make a special note of one of these games because when they played against Toledo, this was to get into the 3rd place game. So this was the win that guaranteed them a trophy.
Okay.
They would be either 3rd or 4th.
Right.
Toledo, I would like to remind people that was the team that knocked out Acosta
Yeah.
in the first round. They're very good. And in this game, Lauren went 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and a home run, 4 runs, and 2 RSBI. In one game, that was the one that guaranteed them a state trophy. So
That's bonkers.
huge state performance for Lauren Matlock, leading her team, which I believe finished 4th in their district by losing to Acosta.
Wow.
And then when it turned around and went 4-1 in the state tournament, only losing by 1 run to the eventual state champion Adna, and took a 3rd place trophy home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This is going to be tough.
So I think if I were pressed for front runners, I would go. I like the Logan Green one because it's a state high jump champ, and we know for a fact it was a school record. Some of
Right.
the other ones could have been school records. We wouldn't know. This one we were told specifically was a school record.
Right.
And then you have Emily Wilson from Willapa Valley, who won the state title in the 400 and then podiumed 6th place in the 200. And then I think Michaela Stanfield is an interesting one.
Absolutely.
And I think the qualifier of her not doing track until her senior year and just picking up a pointy stick and throwing it further than everyone else in the state is really funny. And then Lauren Matlock, obviously, with her huge performance in the state tourney.
Have we ever had a Merriam Knight Athlete of the Week before?
Guarantee you we have not.
Are they in Grace Harbor?
No,
No,
they're in
Mason County. So that's unprecedented territory for us two-folds.
So, and the interesting thing
Like,
here
not just
is-
one fold,
So, in my
But-
mind, yeah,
two folds.
yes, the Daily World covers Merriam Knights, and I spent
Yeah.
so much time working there that in my mind, Merriam Knight is always in our coverage area, but Oakville is not, because
What?
Oakville is outside of the Daily World coverage area.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
That's a
What?
Chehalis paper thing only.
I have no idea. I don't know how they drew the lines,
That is so weird.
but yeah,
Like,
they
one's
covered
in your
Merriam.
county and one's not.
Yeah.
And it's
Not
not,
that we-
like they're
Is
both.
Oakville in Grace Harbor? Not
Yeah,
Lewis? Okay.
barely.
I wasn't sure where the line was exactly.
It's Rochester, right?
And, yeah, Rochester is kind of where that line is.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's Thurston, not Lewis.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
Right, there's that corner.
yeah, yep, there you go. Weird.
Yeah,
They just don't like Oakville for some reason, huh? Sounds racist.
I don't,
It's understandable. I mean,
I don't know why, honestly. I mean,
Very
we went
odd.
opposite directions with that. I was like, that makes sense. And you're like, that sounds racist.
you just made me a little uncomfortable. I would like to point out that there are a lot of Native American reservations that they do cover the teams for.
Oh, I forgot that Oakville was
Daniel
like
wasn't
near a
even-
Native American
Oh.
reservation.
Daniel wasn't even thinking that.
I forgot about
That's
that.
why you look so comfortable with that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Weird. So I like Logan Green, but I'm skeptical because he's from Mason County, and I'm not sure what I feel about that. I like the two podiums, with the state champ being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I think I said
Michaela.
that I was really leaning towards Michaela, but that part of me is just like a little spiteful with that because I'm like, yeah, of course some kid who was awesome at fast pitch then picked up a track thing and was the best at it because baseball players are better than everybody else.
You mean fast pitch players?
Both.
Okay.
I feel like they're two different sports, Daniel.
She's never done it before, picked up a pointy stick and was the best.
I don't honestly know. Forgive me, I didn't follow Michaela like that closely in spring sports to know if she played softball all the way through.
I just
or if,
assumed because she was a Stanfield.
well, I know she played softball at some point, but I don't know if it was like, did she play 3 years of softball and then decide to do track instead, or had she already stopped playing softball
That's
and
a
then
good
she
question.
moved over to, and then just decided to pick up track as a spring sport? I have no idea.
I don't know. No clue.
But I do know that she didn't do track until this year.
Wait, wasn't she the one who was hitting all the dingers?
That was Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Gosh, so many Stanfields.
Yeah. All girls.
Yeah. Interesting. And Lauren's performance, the only reason why I'm not just going Lauren 100%, because that's my normal choice here, is that we did fast pitch last week.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that too. I was like, can we do? I feel like that'd be kind of rude to the track athletes.
The triathletes? Well, we just
The
named an
triathletes.
award after one of them.
That's true.
Jinx, you owe me a soda.
I don't
you
know
guys
you
didn't say it to
squat.
each other.
Emily Wilson, 2 podiums. 400, 200. That's where my vote's going.
I'm in. I love it.
Yep. And it also continues our sexist voting.
0 males.
0 male athletes.
Dude, unless it's the kid who's not in Grace Harbor County, it was going to be a girl
Yep,
anyway.
exactly. All right. Andrew, do you have any opposition?
Yes.
He doesn't
I'm
know what
voting
we're
for
talking about.
Logan.
Okay, so it's 2-1. Emily Wilson, Willapa Valley Track. State title in the 400, 6th in the 200. Congratulations. You are our Spivey Realty Group Athlete of the Week.
Congratulations.
2 state podiums. Sorry you've peaked by winning this award. Not the state championships, but once you then got awarded the Athlete of the Week, now you have peaked. So your only
ever-
option is to plateau.
Are
Your
we
only
ever going to
option
have
is to
another
continue
male athlete of the
peaking.
week? Are we ever going to have a male athlete of the week again?
Well, one of these weeks we're going to give it to Logan Green, aren't we?
yeah.
Probably.
It depends on how many weeks we decide to keep going with this, like, things that happened at the end of the season thing.
And if like there's some goals things that start happening.
Yeah.
Do they go through the summer? I feel like they
I
do,
think so,
don't they?
yeah.
There we go.
Oh, actually, yeah, because I think their season, one of their seasons just started last weekend. Pretty sure.
I'm always confused as to when soccer seasons start and end at the high levels.
Always. They always start and they always end.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And there's always these like tournaments that are a big deal in the middle of things. Tournaments.
Yeah.
It's like a tournament, but with terms.
Yeah.
Other tournaments don't have terms.
No, they don't.
You just go in there and break all the rules.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's how I live my life. Go everywhere and break all the rules.
I feel like you're the opposite. I feel like you're a rule
I
maker.
really,
Chase,
I
And
like.
you
why I
really
was
like it
warning
when
you.
people follow rules, like the annual rule.
Yeah.
Somebody who cares as much about grammar as you do does not go and break all the other rules.
You know what? To be honest, Daniel, I love rules.
knew it.
I
They
love
make him feel
rules.
safe.
I
They make me
love
feel safe.
finding loopholes around rules, and then everybody else gets upset because that wasn't the spirit of the rule. And I'm like,
that's
well, you should have
dumb.
made a better rule.
Instead of making a dumb rule.
Right. I again don't know what we're doing.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do is we still have 2-minute drill, and we'll do Stump Daniel and Mailbag. But before we get to that stuff, we're gonna take another quick commercial break.
Spivey Realty Group's goal is to make buying, selling, investing, and renting real estate in Grace Harbor simple. They believe in 100% transparency and unparalleled communication with local expertise, tech-enhanced, and top-notch service for their friends, neighbors, and community. Their goal is simple: get a group of strong-willed, hard-working people together who want to make a difference in Grace Harbor and to use real estate as the means of achieving that. Voted Grace Harbor's best real estate company. Find them on Facebook or visit graceharborrealestate.com. Spivey Realty Group, elevating small town real estate.
I'm going to say real MVP of that commercial read was the 4 kids, 5 and under. No, 6 and under,
That
7
we're
and
all
under.
quiet for 33 seconds.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not real. You did that from the bathroom.
No, I did it outside. And
there
at
were-
least 2 of them were outside.
Man.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Well, I have good news to report. Both my sons are playing in a 3-on-3 tournament at the high school.
Oh, yeah,
in
what's their
Monty
team name?
today.
Basketball?
Their team name is Dama Elite.
Are you sure? Because you said you were looking at the list of team names and you couldn't figure out what their team was.
That's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing.
Are we
But I
talking
will
about a
say,
basketball tournament?
they played against a team of 8th graders in the first game, and they won.
Oh,
That
take that,
is
8th graders.
Go Dama Elite.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. LSU is up on the Tar Heels 2-0. No, it's just the second inning.
Is this a basketball or that's a football thing?
baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, there you go.
That's actually-
It's
Keep
actually
naming
volleyball.
sports.
No, softball.
Ignore me.
Lacrosse.
Soccer.
It's baseball.
What city
Yeah.
do the
I was
Dodgers
trying
play
to
in?
pull up a stream of that.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. We're getting some
Brooklyn.
messages in the chat from, Andrew being very helpful to Chase about warning him to tell the bouncer that I'm going to show up at his party.
Yes.
And Chase, I want you to know, I just said I love rules. They make me feel safe. When I show up to your party, I'm breaking all the rules. It's going to be a mess. A madhouse. You may not even know I was there. You'll just be like, where did this giant mess come from? And then I'll be gone.
Yeah.
Like a
Ev-
That's what
Tasmanian
usually
devil.
happens.
All of the chili and nacho cheese just
Yeah.
everywhere
Yes.
on the wall.
If it's
walls.
beanless chili, I'll probably eat some. If it's not, I'll just throw it everywhere.
Did you say beanless chili?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Beanless chili is the only chili.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Like, as long as it's not meatless chili.
No. No, I love meat. I like meat in my chili.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Should we go into the next segment? Should we go into the 2-minute drill? You ready for it?
I think I'm ready for
The
it.
2-minute drill? You ready for the 2-minute drill? Let's
Yeah.
do the old 2-minute drill there.
Yeah.
Let's go, hurry up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3-jet Buckeye on 1, 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
The 15th seeded Oregon State Beavers baseball team won the first 2 games of the NCAA tourney this week and will play in the final of the Corvallis Regional tonight at 6 o'clock. If they win, they will move on to the 3-game Super Regional Series, which is the equivalent of basketball's Sweet 16. I felt necessarily why can't I talk today? I felt it necessary to explain that because baseball tournament's really confusing. Daniel, how far do you think this team could go?
I mean, they have the talent to go all the way to Omaha and to win it. They hit a rocky patch in there that really dropped them down, and then they didn't have a good showing at the Pac-12 tournament. But the talent of this team
Tourmenament.
is World Series champ worthy. So they're going to be that like underdog dark horse team that's just going to come in and blow everybody up.
Travis Bazzana.
Is bazonkers. The NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks will start on Thursday. Justin, who has the Edga?
You know, some people might say the Celtics have barely lost all year. They won tons of regular season games. They only lost 2 games in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They've been playing against a crap Eastern Conference that's even worse than the usual bad Eastern Conferences. And in every single series they played in the playoffs, one of the best players from the other team was injured for at least half of it. They haven't been tested.
Yeah.
You know, on the other hand,
They might be positive.
exactly. The Mavs opened the playoffs playing against the Kawhi and Paul George-led Clippers team that was really good.
Were they,
And
though?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just
And then they knocked off the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, Oklahoma City. And then they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, which had just beaten the defending champion Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, they are battle-tested. Also, Luka Doncic, if you stretch back, just not their last series, but the 2 games before that, his last 7 games, he's led the team in points and assists all 7 games, and I think led in rebounds 4 of them as well. I'm giving the edge to Luka and the Mavs, and the Celtics suck. Daniel, are the Mariners good, and do you like them?
It's a day-by-day decision. And today, they're winning 5-0 in the top of the 9th. So the Mariners are good, and I love them.
All right. They're also they've won 6 of the last 7, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Last question. Andrew, in which city do the Dodgers play their home games?
Los Angeles, which
Yeah.
is Spanish for
Oh, Wales. Oh, wait. That's San Diego.
Yeah. You know what's funny, though, is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They're just saying the Angels of Anaheim. That's a dumb team name.
Yeah.
It's a dumb franchise.
Yes, it is.
Possibly my favorite thing that Mike Salk has ever done was go off about how the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim are a joke of a baseball franchise for like a half hour.
Yeah.
It was so
And yet Shohei
pleasing to
Ohtani
my
went there and
soul.
not to us.
that's less pleasing.
For my money, perhaps the
biggest-
funniest thing that's ever happened on this show
Yeah.
happened last week when Andrew didn't know what city the Dodgers play in, and then identified, well, I know they used to play in Brooklyn. I almost thought, like, I'm going to ask him to clip that so we can
Didn't
replay
care.
it. It was
Still don't
shocking.
care.
Yeah.
You heard
No.
my voice naturally went up into high register when I was like, "Are you messing with me,
Yeah.
Andrew?
I
Did
heard
you not know
it.
the answer to that?"
Yeah, I heard it. It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
You're welcome.
Because then his arguments for it were even further ridiculous, which was like, I only care about the Mariners. When I listen to like John Boy's podcasts and they start talking to about other teams, I don't care. And I'm like, dude, there is such a difference between not wanting to hear about other teams and not having a clue what cities those teams play
You
in.
don't need to know who bats in the 8 hole for the Dodgers, but you should know that they play in Los Angeles.
Andrew, I'm gonna bring this into other sports.
Which league?
Do you
is-
know-
Which
do you
league
know-
are the Mariners in? AL or NL?
Oh dear God.
It's not the one that the Dodgers are in, is it? So that's why I don't care about him at all. Wrong league.
Wrong league.
Yeah.
Okay. What about?
It's just like the way he
I-
knows
I know
NFL teams,
that
but
they're
not
playing
USFL
both
teams.
I was gonna ask. I was like, Andrew, do you know where the Chargers play?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I know where they used to play. That's what I was thinking first, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah, that was kind of a trick question. Sorry, because I was still thinking San Diego when I said it.
Daniel, do you know where the Chargers play?
No, I forgot. What about
Anaheim.
What about the Texans? Do you know where the Texans play?
Texas.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And Justin, do you know where Iowa is?
It's in the United States.
There
Listen,
we go.
we
Attaboy.
are not and have never
just a hop,
been
skip, and a jump away from-
geography pod.
Hey, why'd you do that to me? We were making fun of Andrew.
because I hold the high ground here, having not made any geography blunders.
No, I think you did make a geography blunder.
Yeah.
When?
I'll have to go back into the archives.
Good luck.
Dude, good work. Good on you, man. What is it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Said I have to go back in the archives.
Cool.
Give me time.
Justin-
In
Justin's
the
got his
10
work cut out
seconds
for
that
him.
transpired between when I said it and you said that, I hadn't gone back into the archives yet.
You should get faster. You should get one of those chips and plant it into your
I'll
brain.
listen to all of our podcasts back in double time.
Yeah.
I wonder
that'd
if
be
I
crazy.
could run all our podcasts through like OpenAI and get like transcripts that are searchable. I'm
Whoa.
not going to do that because it would cost money, but
Oh.
that would be fun.
If it didn't cost money, I'd be all in. That would be really cool.
I don't care enough about anything we say to do that.
Except for if I made a geography mistake.
I've already ceased caring. Like,
There we go.
Yeah.
See? Then
Like,
I hold the high ground.
it happened 10 seconds ago and I already forgot about it.
What's next, Justin?
My favorite part of the show.
Oh.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Stump Daniel is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. Did you notice the title
Mariners
of the...
gave up a run.
Daniel, I'm sorry
Sorry.
in advance. This is going to be a very difficult Stump Daniel for you because I embarrassed Justin last week and broke him.
Wait,
You-
is it actually?
The fact that you're not embarrassed for yourself for not knowing
It
that
is-
answer.
It is the secret to winning Stump Daniel, and I'm trying to help him out there.
I've never been good at that. Justin says that he's good at it.
It depends on what you
then
hit me
he's not.
with.
Yeah.
It depends because sometimes I can have absolutely no shame about not knowing stuff. But
Yeah.
if you get the right thing, then it's going to bother me.
The wheelhouse ones.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, this week, because of some things that transpired in our nation, I thought we would do presidential trivia.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah. So, Daniel, I've got some...
I said I was good at geography, not presidential.
I've got some presidential trivia for you. And you have a possibility...
7 years ago.
You've got a possibility for 10 points here. We've got 5 questions and then 1 lightning round where you get up to a possibility of up to 5 points.
I just want to say, none of the following is my teacher's fault.
You mean your mom? Or
Yeah.
your dad?
Both.
Okay.
And any of my history college professors who I also loved. Except for that one guy.
Anything lower than 5. Anything lower than 5. Duck zone.
I learned an interesting fact about Eugene that I'll have to pass on.
Eugene, Oregon?
Yeah, apparently their lake is also gross.
Oh.
Yeah. And not the good kind.
Let's say if you get 5 or 6, we'll go Husky zone. 6 or 7, Coug zone.
I like this.
8 or better, Beaver zone. Because I think some of these points are going to be really hard to get. Some of them are super gettable. Daniel, which president of the United States worked to save football from being banned in the U.S.? Which president of the United States worked to save football from being banned? You never heard this story?
I have never heard this
Football
story.
was almost banned because it was so savage and people were having like life-threatening injuries.
Nice.
Yeah, somebody
is
died.
your dad watching?
No, somebody died, if I remember correctly.
Probably multiple people. Is your dad watching? I wonder if he would know the answers to these.
I have not heard from him yet. But since we have started doing local sports at the beginning of the show,
Yeah.
I think that has hindered his watching this. Because
Okay.
he was our odd fan that wanted to hear about the other things.
Okay. We should just start texting him when we stop local sports.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Watch now.
I
Your
command
turn. I'm going to say... John F. Kennedy.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Daniel. That was a terrible guess.
That was actually why he was assassinated. Is that too soon? It's not too soon, guys.
The correct answer was Theodore Roosevelt, and I can't believe you didn't know
I knew that.
I was going to
I
say...
did
See,
know that.
I was going to say farther back. But then you said how brutal it was. And I honestly didn't think it was that brutal back then.
It was in danger because someone died. I do not remember.
Well, there was the...
like,
what was that
dead on
guy's
the
name?
field.
There's
I
that
don't
Tatum
remember the
hit by the Raiders, right?
No,
And
we're
that was
talking
like
about
the
in
60s.
College, though.
Oh, in college.
Yeah, we're talking
Okay.
about in college football.
Okay.
In Teddy Roosevelt, it would have been what the.
Wait, was it
the-
Teddy Roosevelt or yeah? Did you
Yeah.
say Theodore Roosevelt?
Theodore.
So that was
yeah,
like the
so
20s.
Yeah, it was like the teens or the 20s.
Hold on.
I was gonna guess,
At the turn of the 20th
Teddy?
century.
but that's just because he was the only president I know of around that time frame.
Do you want more information?
Yeah, I want to.
At the turn of the 20th century, America's gridirons were brutal. Armed with little protective equipment, football players suffered gruesome injuries and even death. In 1904, there were 18 fatalities reported during that one season alone. Reports of all the bloodshed led to an outcry to reform or abolishment of the game. The crisis became such an issue that President Roosevelt got involved. Roosevelt had long been an enthusiastic supporter of football, but acknowledged that reform was needed. His son Theodore Jr. then played on the Harvard freshman team, so he had a personal interest in reforming the game as well.
Wait, did people die in old school rugby too? Because they never had pads.
I assume so, but also American football introduced several things that made it significantly more dangerous from with rugby, you know this, there's
Yeah.
no blocking.
I know,
There's no forward passing, so there's a lot more contact that is not from multiple yards apart directly into each other.
True.
I do think,
The
though,
one
that
thing though is I was just like
scrums-
I'm just picturing like
scrums break necks.
yeah.
Bad scrums break necks,
Ugh.
and I assume that has always been a problem.
I was just bringing that up because I didn't think the forward pass was much of a thing back then, and so I thought football was a lot more like rugby or something. Like,
Apparently, you were wrong because
yeah.
people were dying
People
left
were
and right.
dying. I wonder how much of that was like how it was completely unregulated and like people were like knifing each other on the field.
Daniel, which president was a Rhodes
It was
Scholar?
probably more like that wasn't a foul, sir. Duel, because duels were still
That's how
happening.
the fatalities happened?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna assume.
Gunfire.
Yeah, gunfire.
Muskets.
Yeah, musket.
Which president... Daniel, which president was a Rhodes Scholar?
I think I know this one too.
Really? So
So
technically, Andrew's 1 for 1 because he knew the last one.
I didn't say it beforehand.
I trust you.
I'm not
I
trying to
trust
claim
you as
that
much
for
as
you.
you trusted Daniel last week playing that commercial.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Rhodes Scholar. Oh boy.
It's funny because I don't think of many of the presidents of my lifetime as being real smart people.
Even though they all somehow got into Ivy League schools.
And graduated.
A Rhodes Scholar. How about Hoover? That's a president, right?
Ooh, I'm sorry, Daniel. That's a terrible guess. Daniel, in
That
1968...
was the president that invented the vacuum cleaner.
Daniel, in
That's not true.
1968...
That's not true.
Bill Clinton received the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship from Oxford University.
I was wrong. I
Oh.
thought that it was FDR.
Okay. Well, Andrew's 1 for 2. Daniel, you're 0 for 2.
No way.
That's the face I made when I read the answer.
What?
I did not... Oh, wait. I won't finish that sentence.
Wow.
Okay, Daniel.
I did not. Sorry.
Who was the only man to be elected twice as U.S. Vice President and twice as President of the United States?
Double deuce.
A double deuce.
Double deuce. Dang.
I have a guess, but I don't feel confident.
How about Dwight? No,
Schrute.
Dwight Schrute.
Did you just say that too? Hannah and I were of the same mind, which freaks her out.
Yeah. How about Dwight Eisenhower?
Ooh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Terrible guess.
Who's
My
the
guess was.
Who's the guy?
Truman.
True. That's the. Gosh, that's literally because he took over from
FDR.
FDR.
You're both wrong.
Dang it.
The answer
No,
is
wait. Truman? Who took over? Wait.
The
Truman
Truman
took
Show?
over for FDR?
I believe he was the VP that took over right at the end of World War II because he made the.
Is Eisenhower even a president?
Yes, Eisenhower was a president after World War II. He was a general during.
Okay, but it was after Truman.
Yeah.
Okay, I got those flip-flops. Sorry. Gosh, I
yes,
am really
Truman
bad
was
at this.
directly before Eisenhower.
Okay.
I'm really bad at this.
Yeah,
Who's
you
the guy
are.
right after JFK?
LBJ, Lyndon Baines.
You don't even know the
Lyndon
correct answer to the
Johnson.
question yet.
No, I was trying to think of that guy, but I didn't. Anyway.
Do you want to know the correct answer to the
Yes,
question?
sorry.
The answer to the question is not a crook.
It's Richard Nixon?
Richard Nixon, the only man to be elected twice as vice president and twice as president.
That's actually really impressive.
Yeah.
Daniel, you are 0 for 3.
This is not looking good, Cotton.
Which president has long been labeled as a self-proclaimed lover of pickles based on a quote falsely attributed to him?
I have no idea what this one is.
Going to the comments. Chase says Justin really wants to make my mom stress out about a mess. Sad, honestly. And then he said they had like 0 padding and ran the ball on every play back then. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like rugby, you have 0 padding and you also run the ball on every play. So that's why I don't think that's the issue.
It's because football's a man's sport.
It's the passing that creates the big hits.
It's also
but
the-
there wasn't very
also
much
the-
passing back then.
Also the culture.
I'm really
like you were
thinking that it was
saying,
probably
if
like
guys-
criminal stuff.
Yeah, muskets.
If guys are legitimately trying to hurt each other,
Yeah.
it gets ugly fast.
Exactly. The old picking the pancake play. I don't know. Go watch Leatherheads.
Pickles, Daniel.
Pickles. Who likes
Leatherheads
pickles?
is a great movie.
Yes. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Pickles. Who likes pickles because of a misattributed quote?
Yes. I can't believe you don't know this.
George W. Bush.
Ooh, so close, but it's actually Thomas Jefferson. On a hot day in
Never
Virginia.
heard this misattributed quote.
Here's the quote. On a hot day in Virginia, I know nothing more comforting than a fine spiced pickle, brought up trout-like from the sparkling depths of the aromatic jar, below the stairs of Aunt Sally's cellar.
It's
We
an
gotta send
excellent
that to.
quote.
We
You
gotta
will-
send that to Justin from the
You
Rock
will-
and Salt Show.
You will find this quote in books, articles, and on websites attributed to Thomas Jefferson going back decades. Yet Jefferson never actually said it.
What?
Thomas Jefferson, much like other larger-than-life historical figures, Abraham Lincoln, Mark Twain, Winston Churchill, is often labeled with fake or misattributed quotes.
I just assume that those guys just said a lot of things like at random. Just spent a lot of time just saying things.
Just walking down the street.
Just
Nothing is like a spiced pickle. And it was like, gosh, Tom, you say the stupidest stuff sometimes. Nobody cares about your pickle takes.
Do you think his friends called him, like, Jeff? Because Tom, like, you know, your buddies never call you by your real first
I mean,
name.
based on that quote, they probably called him Dillweed.
That's disrespectful.
that's too soon, Daniel.
Daniel, you're 0 for 4.
It's not looking
You're
good.
in real danger of duck zone.
Oh, in their poopy lake.
One of America's
Oh, spoiler.
I don't know if it's poop. I'm just putting that on it.
one of America's most well-known American poems. It's a little repetitive, but okay. By Walt Whitman begins, "O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every track. The prize we sought is won." In this poem, Whitman's captain is which president? "O Captain, my Captain,
I had no idea
our
this was
fearful
about a
trip
president.
is done." Why can't I say fearful? I am struggling with normal words today.
Ever since you started making fun of me about inaugural, it's just been like a karma thing.
Tourmenament.
Yeah.
You can always go East Coast and go tournament.
Ugh. Yeah, and you could say via too, but that doesn't mean it's right. Or Oregon. Nevada.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Daniel, who's the captain?
George Washington.
Terrible guess. Dang it. Everyone knows it was the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln.
He was the captain of a ship?
He was Walt Whitman's captain.
On a ship? Wait.
I think maybe he was the captain of whatever Walt Whitman was doing in his poem.
Hang on.
Wait a second. Was Abraham Lincoln ever the captain on a ship?
I don't think so.
I don't think he was,
Oh,
sir.
Captain,
He was
my
the captain
captain.
of the Union, Daniel.
In
is
that
a-
poem.
Is
Okay.
a metaphorical poem written by
Okay.
Whitman in 1865 about the death of Abraham Lincoln. I
That-
said Averham. Averham. What is wrong with me?
I don't know, but
The poem itself.
Abraham sounds like something that a millennial would name their kid.
Averham.
Abraham.
Abraham.
Yeah, good old Aver.
No, they had to add a Lee at the end of it. Averham Lee.
Good call. Good call.
And it would be L-E-H.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leigh. Averham Lee. They would name one of their kids Averham Lee and the other one Lincoln. That's what they'd do.
Yep. Good call.
Yeah, metaphorical
so
poem. So you're 0
that,
for 5.
That I'm gonna claim that one as a trick question because I knew that Abraham Lincoln was not
You didn't
a
know that
naval
some
commander.
You didn't know that some poems are metaphorical?
No, but that is not how that question was framed. You said it was the captain of a ship or something, and I went,
Something.
Abraham Lincoln is not a captain of a ship when you asked that question. What'd you say? Can you
I read a
repeat the
portion of
question?
you want me to repeat the whole thing? I said it very poorly. So I
No,
could
you
say
don't
it
have to
better.
repeat it.
One of
I won't
America's
dispute it.
most well-known American poems, again,
Yeah.
repetitive, by Walt Whitman begins, "O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every track.
That's it.
The prize we sought is won." That's in the poem.
Right.
Metaphorical poem.
And then you said,
In this poem, Whitman's captain is this president.
right. Very misleading.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unintentionally misleading.
No, it definitely makes sense that it, like, after it was explained, yeah, totally not confusing at all. But if I'm assuming that, I don't know, I thought Whitman from writing that was on a boat.
Daniel,
Yes.
you have 20 seconds
Uh-oh.
to name as many vice presidents as possible. Go.
Biden.
One. Maximum of 5.
Wait, maximum of 5?
Yep.
LBJ.
Yep.
Nixon.
Yep.
What are their names? Pence.
Yep. 4.
uh,
Oh, timer's up. We
dang it.
didn't even get our current vice president.
Oh, right. Whoops.
Or the vice president that shot a guy quail hunting. Shady.
Oh, yeah, good call.
I was gonna say because this is based on heavyweights. There's the part where they're doing the competition against the jock camp,
Yeah.
and one of the things is name such amount of vice presidents, and the kid goes, Quail. And they're like, yes, and then he says a bunch of wrong things, and he says Quail again. So I was hoping you'd get Quail, but
Sorry.
you didn't. You got
Do you know
4.
who Quail was the VP for?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say. I feel
Wait,
like
the
that
guy
was-
who shot?
No.
Oh, but
Dan
there's
Quayle
Dan Quayle was actually a
the
vice
VP
president.
for Bush Senior, I believe.
Oh, okay.
HW.
Gotcha.
HW.
Bush 45.
Gotcha.
I don't know why they have the number. Like, I don't know why it's 45.
Gotcha. I don't know.
Is he the 45th president?
I'm just glad that you mentioned Nixon before because,
Daniel was like, I knew that one.
yeah. But I guess I don't get any credit for that because that whole question was get 5 and I didn't get any, or I didn't get. Do we have any more questions?
No, you're in the duck zone.
That was the last question.
Yep.
Swimming in the poopy lake.
Wait, that was 10 questions.
You went 0 for 5 on the questions, and then you had a chance for 5 points in the lightning round, and you got 4. So
That's brutal.
anything less than 5 is duck zone.
Ouch.
I feel like you should brush up on American history, Daniel.
Yeah.
There's some Dan Carlin podcasts you should listen to.
Don't feel-
I know you've listened to it before. That makes it extra bad.
Well, when I asked you for vice
up.
presidents, you guessed like 6 times.
He was a great vice president. Just because you don't remember him.
Is the sound in dumb.
Yeah. Maybe.
Our greatest vice president.
Yes.
So the
That's Daniel. In Idiocracy, his name is not sure, and that fits in just perfectly.
Shay says, which president fell through the White House floor in a bathtub? I don't know. Chase, who would do what? Which president did that? Was he a fat president? Or was it a heavy bathtub?
Okay, we can't say anything now until we get Chase's answer. We have to sit here in silence.
This could be a while. Oh, I ruined it. This is terrible podcast here. We literally just went silent.
It was like 4 seconds. You're so trained in radio
I am.
that you can't let
can't have
dead
dead
space.
air.
It bothers you
Yep.
so bad.
Taft. He said Taft. William?
Brave search is telling me that this is largely anecdotal and lacks concrete evidence.
I choose
was
to
he
believe
the
it.
really super fat one?
Yes. he
Okay.
is. Which probably is just normal size for nowadays, I assume.
He's probably like Babe Ruth.
I mean, he looks pretty big in his pictures.
Babe Ruth, you mean really good because he didn't have to play against a lot of the best pitchers of the time, or
Yeah. But did you also see that somebody mentioned that the bat he was using? See, that's the crazy thing to me. Isn't so much that he hit so well, but the bat he was using was like a giant log. And the fences were all the same length. And you
Really?
Dude,
Isn't Yankee Stadium now like a tiny field?
yeah, but they also played at the Polo Grounds
Okay.
before
okay.
that, and the Polo Grounds had like a 500-foot
Okay.
dead center.
My other question is, how fast were people throwing?
And that's the other
Were
thing.
they throwing 70?
and they weren't throwing big breaking pitches.
Yeah, you want to know where a lot of your distance is gained? From how fast the pitcher's throwing. The farthest home run recorded was on the fastest pitch recorded at the time.
Okay, but
Mark McGwire hit a 101-mile-an-hour fastball in the Kingdom, like 900 feet.
It
It
was
wasn't
the
that far,
Kingdom.
but it
That's
hit the
awesome.
back of the Kingdom.
900 feet.
Daniel,
It was like five something.
my thought there though is
So
that
that
to
just blows me
maximize
away.
your home runs, you would want to be hitting at the correct like 45 degrees
Right.
to hit, like rather than hitting it the hardest, you
Yeah.
want to be hitting it the best trajectory, and that's probably
Oh,
easier
with that
a
little bit more
slower-
lark.
with a little bit less or slower pitch,
I heard
That makes
Babe Ruth
sense.
would just
like off a tee.
pick up a tree, pull it out of the ground, and use that as a bat.
Probably.
I'm only spitballing here. I'm not like coming with an argument or something, but it feels like off a tee, you
Yeah.
could hit it like out without hitting it like that hard, because you could just hit it like the perfect amount.
Yeah, it's not true.
No?
If you could hit it out off a tee, you're kind of a man-child. Like, that is amazing.
A tee kind of slows the bat down too, though, doesn't it? Like, I feel like
I mean, if
it
you were
messes
just
with
hitting
your
the ball.
swing. That's fair.
Yeah.
I
But
was
I'll-
just thinking, like, if you're just hitting a ball
you
that's,
get
like,
a lot
right
of
there,
you get a lot of the force from the speed of the pitch. Force isn't the right word.
A lot of
Energy.
the-
You get a lot of the
energy.
energy
Yeah.
in the equation from
That's
the speed
true.
of the pitch.
That's true. I like undoubtedly it's
Yeah.
true.
So for it to stand still, like that's always why if you see a video of somebody hitting a ball off a tee out, you're like, whoa, that's a lot of power they're generating by themselves.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're able to analyze old videos and figure out pitch speeds with any kind of
They did a bunch of weird tests. There's this really cool documentary called Fastball that looks at a lot of the weird tests they did to try and measure speeds back then. And
well, okay. So like tests they were doing at the time.
yeah.
I would be interested in whether you could take video footage from that time and run it through a computer now and figure out. I wonder if you'd be able to have the, because you're probably only getting 27 or 30 frames
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah. And Justin, I would say, based on the recent announcement that all of the stats from the Negro Leagues have been taken in, one of the cool things that I learned with all of the conversations that's come around it, there's been some really cool stuff. I hope this isn't ruining the show sheet at all, that I obviously studied to great lengths, why I keep asking you where we're
We
at.
have nothing left except mailbags.
Okay.
This could be our mailbag conversation if you want.
It's very interesting because the best players from the Negro Leagues, when they came over, were also all-stars and MVPs. So you're like, okay, they're best players. We're actually the best players. So it's a good direct comp there. And then apparently there's a ton of exhibition games between the two leagues that I didn't know about. And there was a lot of them. And the record, the Negro Leagues teams were 33 games over 500. But there was a ton of games.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, that says, yeah, their stats absolutely. Just bring them in. That makes sense. But also, you just instantly went, he's not playing against any of the best pitchers.
Didn't I say all of the best pitchers?
You said all of the best pitchers. So that's the same thing, right? Any and all?
Well, no, I was saying he played against some of the best pitchers, but not all of the best pitchers.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't communicate.
Because I was
going to
say, 33 games over 500, and I think it was like 500 games.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, yeah, they absolutely belong. All the stats should be combined. And Josh Gibson now is like the career leader in like batting average, all these different things.
Yeah.
But I think for you to say that Babe Ruth was doing it against a bunch of schlubs isn't quite accurate.
I didn't say that.
Well, you made the comment disparaging the competition he was playing against because a good chunk of the best players weren't playing in the same league.
Maybe you heard it that way. It wasn't the way I meant it. What I was trying to say is that, like, ideally, obviously, they would have all been playing together.
Right.
Because then all of the best players would be playing against each other.
Correct.
But instead, you probably have some amount of watered down stats because if they were all playing together, then some of the guys who didn't belong wouldn't have been out there.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
I have a couple different points on that.
Sure.
And I'm largely with you on your side of the argument. I don't think Babe Ruth was quite the... I mean, gosh, especially hearing the stuff that Hank Aaron went through, breaking his record, and the amount of just awfulness that was sent to him in the mail every day by hundreds and hundreds of horrible, horrible people because he was breaking Babe Ruth's record. I'm so much more on your side of this, but a couple of things. There was a lot less teams back then.
Was there like 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
so. That seems like the talent would be more condensed,
also a
right?
lot less people playing than that at a super high level than would be now, right? See, this is like my ultimate argument would always be that cross-era comparisons are impossible,
right?
But if I were going back, and I think if you
so that's
took
what I'm trying to say,
Babe Ruth and you drop him from a time machine into today's game, he'd be totally lost.
Well, yeah,
because
he'd never seen a slider before.
Exactly. And
was wild.
And if you took some of like today's players who have all this like high level of science and equipment and training, and you try to drop them in the game in the 20s or whenever it was that Babe Ruth played, and they were just expected to chomp down 3 hot dogs and then go play a baseball game
and not wear a
after
helmet.
riding a crappy bus and not
wear a helmet, not wear pads,
not know anything
basically
about the
get
pitcher,
punched in the face when they were trying to turn a double play.
Have to turn a log. Or have to swing a log.
Yeah, like
you have to be responsible for going out and pulling your own tree out of the ground to use as a bat, like
exactly.
Babe Ruth did.
Or craft it like the Natural did when lightning struck the tree.
So I think ultimately it's never about like trying to disparage what he would do if he were in today's game or what others would do if they were in that game. It's more about like people who treat it like that, what Babe Ruth did can never be matched because he was the greatest of all time, because look what he did, when the comparisons are really like they're sort of impossible because the factors have changed so much. Like what those guys had to go through just to play the game, and they weren't millionaires who were supported by all this science and technology back then. They had to do it and fight through it because they loved it. And how many people wouldn't play if that were the case today?
Or because it was better than working in a factory.
But at the same time, like athletically,
well, we know
people are greater athletes now than they ever have been before. But that has a lot to do with just with the advancements of what we know.
Right.
Like they're allowed to become great athletes from the time that they're 4 years old because of what we know.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
As far as like creating a physical athlete specimen, like if you were 6'10", you would have been in the post no matter what, playing basketball in any era until about probably late 90s, early 2000s, when these guys, they see Penny Hardaway and you get a chance to come up and you can be, maybe you could throw Magic Johnson in there if you go back a little bit further, but a guy who's 6'10" now or 6'11" like Kevin Durant gets the flexibility to have guard skills and play on the perimeter when that never would have happened before.
Right.
Does
You know what's weird?
Does it make a difference that there's like 4 people that are or not?
Well, we had those
Are
before.
people getting taller?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you have Manute Bol, and I guess George Mirasan's a little more recent. Arvydas Sabonis in the 90s. Like, there was guys that were over 7 foot that played.
That's fair.
I'm really curious. Because it's so interesting to me.
Is Pax having a bad dream?
No, he's just having a good dream.
Okay.
He's protecting people.
Okay.
So
Woofing in his sleep.
I feel like track and field kind of show us some interesting topics when it comes to that.
Oh, because you're not competing against someone.
You're not competing against. It's just straight time.
Although the time-keeping mechanisms have changed, which does have an impact.
So does that make it faster?
I don't know what effect it has, but going from hand
Because
timed
in
to
1991
electronic timed would probably make a difference.
In 1991, Carl Lewis set a record of 9.86. And now what? It was 30 years later, 40 years later, when Usain Bolt's record is, let me look it up really quick. Like it's
You're talking about in the
9.58. Like the records in track haven't changed as drastically, especially when you take a look at like the surfaces they're running on and how all the equipment has been optimized.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say that the athletes are all like super better, but their equipment, I think, is the biggest part of everything. Who is the track star who went into Berlin and like torched the place? Jesse Owens. Thank you.
I don't. That was not certain about that.
That was a good pull. Let's see, Jesse Owens records. So this is back in the 40s.
Just pre-World War II.
Oh, gosh dang it. It's in 100 yards? That can't be. So he ran a 10.2, but it was on dirt. It was on freaking dirt. Like, what does Jesse Owens run on a new track? Like, I don't know. I wonder how much of it is equipment, even though we have all of this, like, sports technology, and we're going to create athletes, super athletes from the time they're 5 years old. And it's like, yeah, is it that, or is it really just the technology that now pitchers have to to track every little tiny bit of spin so they can do it 100 times over and look, I have that technology now. Like, are the athletes better, or is it just purely the technology?
Whether the athletes are better or not, I will guarantee the pitches are better. Like, the pitches
and
are
the
insane.
ability that they give the 6'10" people to be like, hey, yeah, you're 6'10", but you can dribble, and we're not just gonna be like post, which you still see in high school, by the way. Like a lot of smaller high schools, they're like, you're tall, go play center, rebound. Why aren't you rebounding? Why are you shooting? So I don't know.
I think it's
like
less of a
part
measurement
that
of
is of necessity in those situations, because like you're the tallest, even if you're super athletic, you need to use that super athletic where you can compete with the other tall guys, because if we put another guy in there, he's not gonna be able to compete.
That's part of where basketball's changed, because that it used to be that way where like everything was all about how can we win, what's the best way to win, and now a lot of it's developmental. So it's not about how can we win, it's how can I succeed the best, how can I make sure I play on a team where my coach is going to put me in a position to succeed the best.
So
but I wouldn't even say like
now.
The technology makes freak athletes better. Like if you're using the measurement of like the greatest athlete of each era, then they're probably the same. Like I'm not trying to say that humans are evolving to be better, but I do think that the advancements with nutrition and workouts and technology have made it to where there's a greater volume of great athletes. Not that the best athletes are better than the greatest athletes of all time, but that there's more people that are capable of achieving these great athletic abilities because of what has been advanced for development.
I like that. And
that
also
makes a lot of sense. And I was just this morning telling someone about how Usain Bolt in China was eating chicken nuggets and still setting world records for speed.
On a diet of nuggets.
He's clearly not healthy.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I try to eat healthy. He's not eating healthy. He's still the fastest person that's ever fasted.
That's I know, and we've
but
had
also, you might have been about to say this.
Go ahead.
But why in the era of diet and nutrition and all of the hyper focused things we have on health, can we not get somebody through a freaking season healthy unless they take like a quarter of the season off in basketball? Like, dudes were showing up, smoking cigs, drinking 12 packs, and hopping on the court and playing 79 games in the NBA before. And now we have these hyper tuned athletes like who can't get through a freaking season because they pull everything half the time. It's like it's a weird thing to say because it's cars, but it's literally like they're Ferraris, and you can't run a hypercar without it breaking down. And yet there's all of these like Nissans back in the day that were like, yeah, 400,000 miles on it, still running it.
Nissans?
Oh yeah,
maybe Toyotas.
Toyotas. You know.
The weirdest thing is pitching. Because guys used to pitch so
Nissans.
much more.
Yeah.
And like they would pitch, the rotations were shorter. They
Is that
would
the
throw
weirdest
more
thing, though?
innings, more pitches. Well, because
I feel like basketball players might be up there with the weird thing.
Some of it I think can be explained because the culture change. Some of it can be explained by the culture change because the culture used to be you play through that crap if you could limp out there, and now they're a lot more protective of the long term of their career. And like statistically, careers used to be shorter in the NBA, and they're longer now.
You look at, I think one of the
amazing
drastic
James something like 47 years old.
I think he's 39 or 40. I think he's 39.
Chase says treating your body badly makes it tougher in a weird way. I can get behind that a little bit.
I've treated my body very poorly, and it is not tougher in a weird way.
I was going with the Usain Bolt eating chicken nuggets thing was that the nutrition and the technology, it might, I don't have this as an opinion, but it's something that I think is possible and interesting. It might not help the elite of the elite. Babe Ruth might show up now and just freaking hit home runs because he's a genetic freak that has a brain and hands that can hit home runs, but
he's Manny Ramirez.
Right.
Nobody said Manny Ramirez was an excellent athlete. He just hit dingers.
but
he was
my
one of
point
those
is
freak
that,
athletes that didn't take care of himself,
technology
like Babe Ruth.
And the understanding how our bodies work and the technology and eating right, that can make somebody who in 1904 would have been a factory worker now be Dylan Moore.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's my thought. Is like
I can
maybe
see that, yeah.
Maybe the total average of the elite athletes is going up.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily because the most elite athlete is that much better. It's because there's a lot more guys who are able to, or people who are able to take advantage of that technology and understanding of our bodies to become just a little bit better than they ever would have been able to otherwise.
That makes sense. You said something earlier where the culture of sports has changed too, where people are just expected to play through things.
No, they used to be expected to play through things.
Yeah,
and now
what did I say?
Then they were going home poor.
No, I was supporting the idea that careers are. You were saying that guys are out all the time.
Yeah,
and I was saying that a lot of the injuries that guys sit out for now, they would have just played through before.
Right. So
their careers were shorter.
That's what I was saying. I was saying you brought that up and you said no to start off your sentence. So I was like, oh, I thought you did say that, and then you just said I said
no.
That. Okay.
No, yeah.
I was really confused.
I did say that. No, I was. So the only thing is, like, I know we talked about this, I think, on the show once before.
Yeah.
But like the idea, and this conversation, it's a classic sports conversation.
Right.
Could Babe Ruth play in today's baseball? And I think the idea that, like, yeah, if you had a time machine and you drop Babe Ruth in his prime into today's baseball, he'd be totally lost. But if you have a time machine and you make Babe Ruth be born in 1998, he's probably competing with Shohei Ohtani for league MVP right now.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's my thought. Like, if he grows up in this era,
interesting,
and has all the advantages that people have of this era, that he would be great.
I like that thought process. What I was trying
now
to
we need to invent a time machine,
yes,
and kidnap baby Babe.
No, we need to,
and drop him off in the 90s with parents who will let him thrive.
Somebody that can afford to let him play travel ball.
A lot of it, though, like you were saying, the culture of playing through things in basketball.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more tendon issues, things that you can't play through now too, though.
Like blown out knees and
Achilles for one. I feel like Achilles injuries are just like a thing now.
Could that be explained by more people who are playing at the very top of their ability rather than
less people playing at their normal
I can tell
ability?
you what
Like,
argument
does that
I've
make
heard
sense?
from people on this before is that players,
I've got one that I don't think anybody wants to hear, so I'll leave it
Players
for after
are-
the show.
a larger number of players are just play faster now. So they're faster. As if you're looking at basketball, even from the 90s, the game is so much faster now than it was then. People are running more. A larger amount of people are faster. There's
So
a
the
lot more
style
hard
of the
pivots.
game. You're saying the
I'm not
style?
saying that that's my argument, but
Is
it is an
football the same,
argument that
then?
I've heard made.
Football could argue like that.
Is
I
that
would
similar
say
thing with football?
that would be
Because wasn't like the
true of
70s
football.
and the 80s in basketball like a high-flying game where they scored 130 like on the regular too?
Does scoring a lot mean
Like
that
around
you're
the merger?
moving quick though?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I would just think if you're scoring 130 points a game, there's a lot of possessions,
What if
and
that's
each
just not
possession
playing
means running
D?
backing up forth up the floor.
I think it's less about
don't know.
like how fast scoring happens and more about how much motion happens away from the ball. So when you hear,
Oh, yeah. More motion happens away from the ball now than did in the 70s when they're actually running offenses.
if you, well, okay,
I
so
think
I
that was
can't,
sarcastic.
I can't go back to
I've watched NBA games now. It's one dude standing out at the three-point line dribbling, and
it
the other
does-
four are just going,
It does.
you're
seem,
watching Sacramento play Charlotte.
okay. So it's not league-wide, but it's a lot of the
Yeah,
league.
Though it does seem league-wide. Like,
Gosh, every
there
time I
is
turned on a
less-
game, it seemed like it was a dude dribbled down and chucked a three.
Every criticism I've seen of the NBA is that it's all
But
about
then he ran back really fast.
about single athletes doing incredible athletic
Yeah,
things
yeah.
instead of teams running as teams.
It's such a fair criticism, and I can't go back to the 70s on it, but I know that I've heard players from the era of the like 80s, 90s
Right.
say, I watch today's basketball and know that half the people I played with would not be able to play because they weren't conditioned from a cardio standpoint to run as much as these guys are running. And that was not just about, it wasn't just about how many trips there are up and down the floor. It was about how much movement was happening, how much quick movement was happening away from the ball.
Right.
So
Chase has a good point here. They were just expected to play through injuries, so they'd smoke a cig and down a beer and deal with the pain.
yeah, quick shot of whiskey.
Yeah. It's not
A
totally
little bit
wrong.
of LSD. Who was that pitcher?
Oh, gosh. Threw a perfect game while hopped up.
Who did that?
I can't remember.
I don't remember who it was,
Was
but
it-
a pitcher definitely threw a perfect game while high on LSD.
Yep. I had no
That is
idea.
a confirmed thing that he's.
Or
talked
did he
about
just
after
think
the
he
fact.
did, but he actually like just hallucinated the whole
Well,
thing?
everyone else thought he did. He wasn't sure.
They had a contact high
Yeah.
from the LSD that he took.
It's so interesting though, like
'cause you
injuries
guys are
with all of
talking
our
about
medical advancements
ways
in
that
diet
the
and nutrition.
games
You would
have
think
changed.
that injuries would go down, not up.
Well, you know the reason that people always give
Daniel-
for the baseball arm injuries is because a greater number of pitchers are throwing so much harder now.
Right.
And because a greater number of pitchers are throwing so harder now, you can only throw 101 miles an hour so many times before
Yeah.
you're going to need Tommy John.
True. But you're taking one side of advancement there.
But that's-
more, and I'm saying, don't we have medical advancement and dietary advancement that should be offsetting some of that? Like we're having performance advancement, but apparently we didn't get any of like all of this other stuff.
That ligament
apparently isn't helping at all.
That ligament is the only part of the human body that hasn't evolved. All the rest of it has.
Daniel, I think that what's happening there is that people are like, whatever is rewarded the most is what people are going to do.
Right.
And so we're using all of our increased understanding of the body to maximize performance. But maximizing performance is not the exact same thing as maximizing longevity or maximizing like overall health.
But wouldn't MLB teams who have lots of money want to maximize overall health so that they would save money from spending?
They might, but
Not
what
for
does
longevity.
the
They only have
pitcher
guys
wanna
control
do,
for so
Daniel?
much.
The
Justin,
pitcher,
they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on pitchers in free agency every year.
Actually,
Wouldn't
no.
you want to come up with medical advancements to make sure that they made it through the first week of the
No,
season?
once you ship those guys off and they sign as
Because-
free agents, there's someone else's problem.
I know, but the people who signed them.
Hold on though.
But they aren't the ones who had them
Because
before.
each pitcher isn't.
You're not making any
competing-
sense.
Each pitcher is competing.
Or you're not.
For
I'm not
himself.
communicating something right. Because this
I
is
don't
a
know.
team. This is a team paying like $500 million for somebody.
You're talking about somebody who's signing a player long term after their club control is over.
Yes.
I was talking about the fact that when a guy's career starts, you know you only have control over him for so much time.
Exactly.
So if you don't know whether you're going to sign him
And
or not,
what
then they might be
establishes
less
it?
inclined at the beginning of his
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
career.
Like, think how few
yeah,
pitchers
but that's
are going into.
that
think
is
about,
that is a narrow mindset because
Absolutely,
as a
but I
whole,
think that's how they think, though.
I know, but as a whole, especially the teams with the most money, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, these teams with a lot of money, you would think they would want to come up with medical advancements to help these players last longer and not spend $500 million for half a season.
And you might expect to see, like, that if they were doing that, you would expect them to see. You would expect to see them signing college players to like 10-year deals,
Yeah.
so that college player is like, oh, I should probably pitch so that I am going to be good for 10 years. Because what's happening is a college player or a guy going straight into the minor leagues, they're not pitching to pitch for 10 years.
Yeah.
They're pitching to get noticed. They're just trying to make a starting. There might be like a handful of guys that are so good that they should probably be paying attention to the longevity, but everybody else is trying to get as many RPMs, because if they can just get noticed long enough to get on, just get signed. Then
That's the
they've
thing, though.
won.
That's the thing with what Justin said is not really. Because when you're still under club control as a young player, you're not getting paid generational wealth.
but
You're getting paid like
yes.
$500,000-$600,000, which is
They're
a lot
trying to
for
get
us.
to the general
But
generation.
when we're
But-
talking about,
but you still need to make it
talking
4
about
more years before
the
you have a shot at the
majority
big
of
piece.
Players,
Yeah,
when the majority of the players aren't the players that
That's
we're
true.
seeing play in the major leagues.
yeah.
The majority of the players, what makes up the actual culture, what you're gonna actually have happening, is the MLB players plus all of the minor league players plus a sizable segment of like high school, college players that want to be minor league players but don't make it.
Right.
And so you're getting all of that pushed on top, where again, the top 5% probably, honestly, they probably are. Like the guys that are throwing 100 miles an hour effortlessly.
Yeah. What's the point of what you're saying?
I'm just saying that
The culture is to produce as high as possible as you possibly can.
I'm not
right?
not just the culture, but I'm saying that what rewards
the
them.
incentive.
The incentive.
The incentive. That's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like,
Right, and
everybody,
I get that.
You're
Hold up.
right that the knowledge.
You guys are
should
both going
allow-
down. You guys
Okay.
are both going down a path where I know, yes, absolutely. But what is not keeping up with that path is the medical advancements to try and keep people safe while they're trying to put out as much output as possible. Because all you guys are looking at is the kids trying to max out as much as possible to get there. And I'm saying, yes, that's here, but we've seen an
You're saying the
exponential.
team incentive from the team's perspective, right?
No, this is just from the individual's
From the
incentive.
player's perspective.
The
Okay.
player's perspective,
But see-
they want to output as much as possible. Shouldn't the game as a whole, though, be pumping money into the medical perspective of trying to make it so, like, the medicals catches up to this? Because as a whole, there's a problem in baseball where people are starting
I
to
think
not
the
let their
problem is
kids
that
pitch
it's-
at all because you're going to blow out your arm.
The
I
league
think
might want that, but the individual teams
Yeah.
won't.
Well, not
Well,
even
also
the
individual teams.
players.
Back to my previous thing.
Yeah.
The individual teams, it would save them a butt ton of money as well if they could be like, "Hey, these high-priced people that I'm paying for are actually going to last, and I'm not just throwing money at a surgeon right now."
So
because
there's
that's what they're
also-
doing.
There's also the
So
argument
that's what
the
I'm saying.
teams
I
would rather
I-
take 105 miles an hour from a cheap player who's still making few million dollars.
Okay.
So it's worth it to that player because otherwise if they weren't doing this, the assumption we're making here is the player that's like using all of the tech and all of the insight to get up to that point where they're like a closer for 2 years.
Right.
They're not. It's worth it to them.
I'm getting this. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. We've seen all of this advancement on one side, and we've seen zero advancement on the other side. That's all I'm saying.
Has there been zero advancement?
To me,
We haven't seen a new treatment since Tommy John.
it's
Tommy John was invented in like the 60s or the 70s.
So it's a medical treatment that
But-
you're looking for.
but
You're not
it's
looking for the
different now.
teams to treat the players differently. You're looking for a medical advancement that
Yes.
will help the game because there's different incentives from
and that's
every
what
level.
I'm saying.
You're saying
That's what I'm saying. Across
you're
sports,
saying, give me
it
20
seems like
seconds. Give me 20 seconds.
Okay.
Uninterrupted.
Because I feel like you guys have interrupted me 100 times, and you've said things that I've already been like, yeah, I know.
sat here
got it.
silently for like 4 minutes.
I know. Okay,
Give me 20
go for it.
seconds. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
The incentive structures are leveled. So like the Major League Baseball may want something.
Right.
The teams are incentivized to get as much as they can from guys. And yeah, if they pinpoint a guy like the Nationals did with Steven Strasburg, where they try to limit him, they did it. They capped him, even though they were a playoff team. They capped him when he was a rookie to try to save his arm.
I mean,
So there are examples of that. But if you look at like what the teams are trying to do is succeed in a short window. So if they know I have control over this guy for 4 years, I have no idea what's going to happen after that. They might try to maximize what they have out of that guy for 4 years. If they've pinpointed him as I'm going to pay this guy $500 million, then yeah, they would be incentivized. And Major League Baseball should be incentivized for medical advancements over like for the health of the game. But that's not really how the decisions are made. The decisions are made by the individual teams to say, I'm going to get this out of this guy over this period of time, and I'll roll the dice that he may be less successful in the next contract because chances are the next contract's 50-50 whether it's ours or not. That's the only thing that's from the beginning. That was the only point that I was trying to make. I don't actually think it contradicts what you were saying.
No,
I think they go together.
Absolutely. And that was the thing is I was like, yes, I agree with you both. And you're both talking to me like I'm not agreeing with what you're saying.
Was I?
Well, you were quiet for most of it.
Okay.
But I'm like, yes, absolutely. I get what both of you guys are saying. I'm just wondering why in sports have we seen the performance go up and the care not follow at all?
and I
like
was
we're
trying
getting
to explain
we're getting
that.
higher performance and yet we haven't seen any. All you talked about
at
was
the individual level, the incentive is not to last long. The incentive is to get there at all.
I'm not.
And the individuals
Andrew, you're
are
not
the ones
listening to
making
me.
the choices.
You're not listening to me. There's a difference between the individual and the options of care that they have. Like, I get it. The incentive is up here. Absolutely. And they're trying to peak themselves. But on the other side, while they're trying to hit maxes over here, there's no options for them on the medical side to stay healthy during it. That's
And
my
what
thought.
is your question?
My question is
Where are the
why
medical
has
And your question is why that is.
Why
and my
hasn't the-
answer is no one is trying to get that.
You're telling me
because
that
they're
medical
trying
professionals-
to maximize their
No.
that's
You're
what
telling
I'm saying.
my question is why isn't the medical community come up with things to keep people healthier? And
because
they haven't.
people aren't begging them to do that. People are begging them to come up with how they can throw harder. Individual people.
I know
a
a lot of individual people who have hurt themselves who are begging
They're
medical
not
community.
making millions of dollars. The money to make money,
baseball
they have
program-
to reach that people are stretching to make the money.
Right.
If they don't make it to the money, then they don't
So you're
have any
telling me-
money to spend on the medical.
So you're telling me that medical professionals are just like, yeah, we're not going to try and keep people healthy.
Well, no, but
Most
like,
medical professionals are working for the people that pay them the most.
you're saying that Major League Baseball is not paying anybody.
Major League Baseball is perfectly happy to pay a bunch of pitchers for a few years a relatively small amount of money and then have them go away with broken arms.
There it is. Okay, so you
That's
finally
what
got
I'm
to
saying.
the crux of it is the medical professionals aren't actually working for health. They're only working for money to try and peak performance, not to try and sustain performance.
So if
Yes,
you were
because
asking for
people
the
are
why,
asking them.
Thank you.
That's the why.
Finally, yeah, you were telling me that people were trying to get to peak performance the
but
whole time,
they're
and I was like,
doing
yeah,
that.
no crap. But
They're-
why aren't doctors trying to doctor instead of just try and create specimens?
Hippocratic
And you're
oath.
telling me
people
because
are
they
asking
don't-
them to create specimens.
And you're
no
saying
one is
because they
asking
only-
them to create health.
like
And I
quarterbacks
say,
in
A,
a
that's
rookie
not
window.
quite true, and B, it's too much true.
And fair, I would respond to that with no one with money is asking them for
They're-
them to create health.
Absolutely. There
But
we
would
go.
they be able to? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Make
They
the
sti-
human body better.
We keep pouring money into cancer, and so far they haven't figured anything else out with that either. So
Oh, pouring money into the fight against cancer.
who knows? I don't know where this money's going.
Governments probably,
Jeez.
trying to, whatever.
It's crazy.
I got all kinds of conspiracy theories.
Me too.
Throw at you right now.
I know.
The government created HIV.
Chase is with us. He says
Among
that the
other
medical community doesn't make money if people are injured less.
Thank
think
you.
it's-
That's what I was getting at the whole time.
I don't think it's that simple though.
I think it's
The-
too
the-
simple.
If the medical community were being paid to keep people healthier longer, they'd be happy to they would be working on those things. And there are people still working on those things, but no one is following those people's advice.
Lost power.
We
Are we
actually
still live?
should still be live because
We just lost power for a
we
second
did
there.
lose power for a second. We should be live still.
Your guys' electric argument.
Yep, no. That definitely the UPS powered us right through that. That
Nice.
was awesome.
That's awesome.
Would it be terrible if I said that I understood what both of you were saying the whole time and I
don't
agree with you?
I don't disagree with what Daniel's
Yeah.
saying. I'm just trying to communicate
I think I also understood what Andrew was saying
Yeah,
a
me
long
too.
time before.
Yeah.
Well, that's rude.
I'm trying to I'm with you.
I don't think
Every
it's that-
athlete's just trying to get to their peak.
I don't think it's just that information isn't out there and medical professionals aren't working on that though. I think it's more that no one cares. Because nobody is paying attention to the medical professionals that are like, you need to save your arm, unless you're the top 1% of athletes.
That's the thing that I'm getting at here, Andrew. I don't want to have to save my arm. I want you to figure out how to make it so I don't have to save my arm. I need the medical community to make a brace, to do something, to figure something out that lets me not have to save my arm.
I would say
Robots.
that we're probably just me.
Cyborg. Robot arm.
Extra tendon.
They fixed
Can we do
that,
Tommy?
Daniel.
Can
they
we do
fixed that, and you kicked them out of the MLB in the 90s.
steroids?
Yeah?
Boom. And on that bombshell.
You got rid of the medical science that could have created the super athletes.
Didn't
I have
steroids
no
lead
idea.
to a lot of injuries?
Yeah, well, it's a broad and complicated subject.
Ginger
They
and
can
pumpkin
be-
is such
they-
a good combination.
They can be used
That's-
to help recover, but they can also cause problems. It's not really.
I got through
One
three
or the
pieces
other.
of pumpkin bread while you guys were arguing.
I didn't even know we
I
were
don't
arguing.
think we were arguing. I wasn't arguing.
I was just trying to figure out how to communicate what I was trying to say.
I arguing without it being a problem.
I fully realized that I wasn't communicating well. I just couldn't figure out how to communicate. I'm still
Well,
not sure that I got
don't
my
know
point
if-
across. Can
I'm
you
not
try and
sure-
summarize what I said?
Guys, I just wanna
Medical
put out that this is-
Hippocratic oath.
Yes.
it might be Hippocratic.
I think that, to be honest, no, hypocritic is what I was trying to say.
I realize you said it on purpose. And
I think
also
the problem-
want to make sure that everyone knows it's Hippocratic.
Was that I think I understood what Andrew was trying to get at earlier than you got the point of what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
And it made you really upset. But I don't know why.
I don't think that.
But also,
Well, I still don't feel like I've communicated what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
so,
Did I
okay,
finally
here,
get it out?
let
Can
me-
one
so-
of you guys say what I'm trying to say? Because I'm
You-
still not sure.
you want the medical community
Yeah.
to be incentivized to create a situation or new developments to where players can last longer while also performing at a higher level.
Yes.
And Andrew was saying that players don't give a crap about that because all they're trying to do is perform at as high a level as possible to get to the big money. And so when the players and the teams are incentivized to perform at a peak level physically in this short window of a few years to get maximum out of what they can, so they care less about the long term. So who is going to be the one to put pressure on the medical community to provide enhancements that allow players to be able to throw 104 miles per hour and still be healthy?
Because
number one, is that even possible?
That would just
and number
be more
two,
expensive for the teams. Like, you're going to have to pay somebody to
again,
last longer more.
Yeah, but again, that's on two sides of the coin, because right now they're paying people $300 million to sit at home and do rehab.
but so many of those people are
mostly-
not with the teams they were originally with, though.
Mostly they're
Like, a
paying
lot of them have
them-
gone and signed their big free agent contracts.
Originally with too, but also there's a ton of Stephen Pryors out there who were saviors of the Cubs, or Mark Pryors,
Okay, I got
saviors
lost for
of
a
the
second.
Cubs,
Yeah.
and then didn't make it.
To be fair, also, we've seen
And yes, they didn't get paid a lot, but they also didn't save the franchise, which would have brought a lot more income to the franchise. So you can say both sides of it. Yes,
Are we
people who get
seeing
hurt after
the
2
market
years.
for older pitchers reflect this, though? Like, Blake Snell wasn't signed until part of the way through this season.
Yeah, but still for millions of dollars.
True, but presumably, if he waited that long, it was because there were not a lot of people begging to give him more money.
Yeah. Chase says, we just need to create the Captain America serum. There it is.
I think the
That's
other
what
thing
Daniel's
is like
asking for. He
the-
wants to know why no one is actually creating the Captain America serum.
Yeah.
is there a medical enhancement out there? Is it possible
It would be
that
a
would allow
steroid.
people to throw 104
It
miles
would
per
be
hour?
a steroid.
And not blow their arm
It
out.
would be a steroid, and it would be illegal
Or even
if
Throw-
it existed.
throw 200 pitches a game like Nolan Ryan and never hurt his arm. For what, 40 years?
Yeah,
The
some
dude
people
pitched
are just
forever.
freaks, man. Some
It's
people are
crazy.
just freaks.
Yeah.
And those are the top 1% that.
Dude,
Well, and then,
he's
like-
top like 0.0001%.
I mean, would you throw Randy Johnson into that category too? Pitch forever,
Yeah.
arm like
Yeah.
a whip,
Yeah.
throw super hard,
Yeah.
limited injuries throughout his career.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess the thing is there used to be shoulder injuries nonstop.
Shoulders.
There's no shoulder injuries anymore.
I wonder if that has to do with how they're throwing.
All I know is the
assume it
medical
does.
community couldn't even come up with an immunization that prevents COVID. So how are they going to prevent Tommy John surgeries?
Also, ACLs and Achilles tears constantly. Like
Yeah.
we can't figure
What
out a
is it
way.
with the Achilles? The
It's-
Achilles is a weird one.
It seems like a new one too.
But, however,
it used
though-
to be rare, and now it's like, oh yeah, I blew an Achilles out for a year.
But it also used to be if you tore your Achilles, you usually never came back the same.
Yeah.
And now guys tear their Achilles, and Kevin Durant, coming back, playing really well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like you can that's the one thing that the medical community has done is rehabs have gotten better
the
and
only
shorter.
thing.
That's kind of part of my pushback to what
the
you're
only
saying
thing.
too.
The only thing.
Because while you're right, Tommy John has been around forever. Tommy John, correct me if I'm wrong, used to mean a full season out.
Yeah.
And
It
now
pretty
it's
much
like
still does.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, my impression was that it had got far quicker recovery.
It's
But maybe
9 to
I'm-
12 months. It's kind of like the ACL. It's gone from 12 months to sometimes 9 months,
Okay.
depending on the
Okay.
human.
So it's not that dramatic. I thought it was more dramatic, but
I don't think so. I might have to do some more research on that.
I
but
mean, I'm pretty sure Shohei is already hitting.
well, yeah, hitters.
I mean, not hitting. I'm sorry. Shohei is already throwing,
oh,
which I saw something about how he was making progress towards coming back.
They are changing the
Shohei's
Tommy John
not a
surgery.
normal human.
Like
That's
they don't
true,
do the
too.
Tommy John
Shohei's
surgery.
clearly a 0.1%er.
Yeah.
The thing that they still call Tommy John surgery apparently is so far from what the original Tommy John surgery was. It's completely different.
I mean, the original one was done by someone who literally was just like, yeah, this could work.
So it's like that's true.
On
But you know what
somebody
I'm.
that was like, just
But there's
do
still-
whatever. I
Remember
don't care if my arm's
when
still
when
there.
they announced that Shohei Ohtani was having his surgery, they didn't call it Tommy John. They called it some kind of other ligament replacement because it's still Tommy John surgery. They just do it a different way now from what it was before.
Yes and no. You're still drilling holes and putting a ligament somewhere.
But
Of
it's
the
a
three of
different
us, Daniel's the only
ligament.
one that has read the arm. For the record,
You're still
I trust
they might have done one of the
Daniel's take on
modified
arm
because
surgeries.
there is a modified version of it that is like in the book that I read, kind of like half a Tommy John. So that might have been what they were
No, I
talking
think
about.
it was a full Tommy John.
But-
They just replaced the ligament with something different and in a slightly different way.
Okay, you're still drilling holes in an elbow
Yeah.
and putting a tendon from a different part of your body through
Right.
it.
That
So
seems normal.
it's pretty similar. Like for someone to say it's completely different, you're still drilling holes in bone. And you're still taking it. They either
Insert
take a
mama
tendon.
joke here.
They
This
either
is-
take a tendon from your
Justin.
wrist or from your hamstring. Like it hasn't changed
Okay.
that much.
This was wrist. Really, you can.
There's an
bench
extra.
after-
There's an extra one.
I
There's a
feel like-
ligament that some people have in your wrist
Wow.
that's literally not used.
Yeah, I have like 5
Interesting.
extra ones.
Yeah, well, Justin doesn't use his thumbs.
If anybody
so-
needs a Tommy John surgery, but you don't want to use one of your own ligaments, I got some.
Justin, by the way, this was my concern when we talked about doing local sports first.
Yeah.
Is that there's now no
reason to stop talking.
no reason for us to stop talking.
We should have
about
stopped
this
talking like a half hour ago.
so long ago, but we don't have the athlete of the week to force us to concentrate.
I really was not. I'm not disagreeing with anything you were saying. I was just. Everything you were saying didn't lead me to believe that you understood what I was trying to say. So that's why I kept interrupting and talking over you, because I was like, I really don't think that I've explamed what I was trying to say
I
yet.
just go back to I don't think that you're saying why isn't there money?
Yeah.
I'm saying there is not strong incentive towards what you are thinking there is.
Gotcha.
And I believe that the biggest reason there's not that strong incentive is because individual players are making decisions. Most of them, the vast majority of them, are making decisions trying to get to the league, not trying to make sure that they have a long career in the league. And teams are perfectly happy with a whole bunch of guys that barely make it to the league and not worrying about the guy that they like. They're not interested in having a relief pitcher that for 7 years. They're perfectly happy having a new relief pitcher every year.
So you're saying
And you
that
have more faith in the medical community than I do.
so
That too, maybe, but
I think I was what I was leading
but
to
we're-
the most, and you guys
we're
kept
not
trying to
even
come up with
talking about-
other things. As I was trying to lead you into the medical community is actually worthless, and you guys just kept talking about player incentives.
I really
think
just
that-
think it has to do with the incentives more than anything else.
And also, franchises are blood-sucking
Well,
vampires.
how about this?
Well,
if you assume
everybody
that the medical
is-
community is garbage, then that completely changes the incentives. If you assume that the medical community can't create a solution, then as a team and a player, your incentives are totally short term.
Yeah, exactly.
As a league, your incentives might be for the players to be better long
Yeah.
term,
So
but
we
not
need to do-
not at the levels that the decisions are made.
We need to find some herbs.
Well, and that's
Some
where
herbs.
Daniel, like, we have for years been advocating.
Chase says
for
this is
moving
more
the mound
entertaining
back.
than ESPN. Chase, I'm so grateful. I thought we lost you a while back. I'm so grateful you're
We
still
have
here.
a listener.
Yes.
If this is first take, you're Stephen A. Smith.
Oh. Wait, does that make you Skip Bayless?
No, he's got his own show now. He's been off that network for a long
I
time.
haven't watched it in forever.
No.
So who are
Well,
you?
it was Max Kellerman for a while, but I don't think he has a single co-host now. I think he has a rotation of co-hosts. Andrew, you can be JJ Redick. Ew.
That's gross. Why would you say that to our friend?
I don't know.
That was a mean thing
felt
to
like
say.
insulting
That's
him.
the meanest thing you've ever said to anybody.
I
He doesn't know who
choose
that
to
is,
be
though.
Offended.
He doesn't know who that is, so we're okay.
All right. I think we should end the show.
Ooh, I want to be Mad Dog Russo. Can I be Mad Dog Russo?
Sure.
It's perfectly fine. He's completely unhinged. You'd love him.
This whole show is unhinged. Oh, do you think anybody tunes this up on Spotify and listens to the whole thing later?
I will.
You're weird. I rarely listen to our show.
Clarence might. Hi, Clarence.
Clarence, if you listen to the whole thing, send us a text.
Where's
I want to know.
Francis?
Francis left hours ago.
Francis left as soon as he unloaded all of his LSU
Yeah.
ammo.
Gotta check on the score of that game.
Yeah, by the way.
I assume that they're losing. I assume LSU is losing because Francis hasn't continued to talk about them.
Good point. I think that's going to do it for our show today. Wow. By the look on Justin's face, LSU is winning.
8-2.
Ooh, that sucks. Thank you for listening to our show today. For my producer, Andrew, that is a complicated and broad subject. Gross.
And my co-host Daniel, great faith in the medical system, Hargrove.
And my co-host, Justin, I'm completely unhinged, Damashevitz.
Uncompletely?
You're completely.
Oh, I thought you said uncompletely.
Oh, I said I'm completely.
Oh, okay.
That's what I tried to say. Maybe I should have said, Justin can't talk right, Damashevitz.
Well, my listening skills are not the best.
You've been listening to The Scrimmage.